Now we're focused, I think. Alright, ratios, a comparison of two quantities. So it says how much one thing there is compared to another. It compares values. So ratio is just another way of comparing data or values or whatever you are looking at. So ratios can be shown in three different ways. So over here we have 4 boxes and 3 of them are colored in and 1 is not. So we're going to look at 3 different ways to write this ratio. And we're going to compare colored to not colored. So we can use a colon to separate the values. So it's going to be 3 colon 1 is one way. Another way is we can use the word 2 to separate values. So 3, 2, 1. Or we can write it as a fraction. So it's going to be 3 over 1. So, finding equivalent ratios. Equivalent ratios are a lot like equivalent fractions. They are two ratios that express the same relationship between numbers. And like with equivalent fractions, it is found by multiplying or dividing the numerator, which is our top number, and the denominator, which is our bottom number, of a given ratio by the same number. So it is like finding equivalent fractions, the same step. And again, like I just got finished saying, it is very close to finding equivalent fractions. So you're going to see that here in a second. So we have 3 ratios. Now I put them in fraction form because I want you to kind of think of this as being finding equivalent fractions, like I've said multiple times so far. So we have 1/2, 2/4, and 3/6. So we are going to find an equivalent ratio. So if we look closely, we can see a pattern. These ratios are all equal to 1/2. So we're just going to find another way to write 1/2. And if you look at our denominators, we are going by 2. So look, 2, 4, 6. So I'm just going to keep the pattern. 8, 10 is what I'm going to do for my denominators. So if we have a denominator of 8, to get 1/2, we're going to write a numerator as 4. So it's going to be 4/8. And then we're going to do the same thing with our denominator of 10. We're going to make our numerator 5, and that is 5/10. If we were to simplify or reduce these two, we would get 1/2. And 1/2 is equivalent to 2/4 and 3/6. Alright, so missing numbers and ratios. So there's a couple of steps to figure out your missing number. You're going to figure out which number has already been multiplied to get the number you know. So it's just like finding a missing number in a fraction. Step 2, then you're going to multiply the other number in the ratio to get the same number. So, again, it's just another way of finding equivalent fractions. If a ratio, if that vocabulary is throwing you off, just think of it as being equivalent fractions. So once again, think of it as being finding a missing number in an equivalent fraction. So let's look at this one. We have 1/5 equals n over 15. We have to solve for n. Now n is our variable, which is just a symbol that stands for something. It really does not matter what your variable is. You're still going to do it the same way. So you're going to ask yourself for the relationship. So you're going to ask yourself in this case, how did we get from 5 to 15? Well, we multiplied by 3 because 3 times 5 is 15. So here's with division, you can also divide your two denominators. So here we divided 15 by 5 to get 3. So to find our numerator, we're going to multiply 1 by 3, so 1 times 3 is, so n is going to equal 3. Now let's look at a word problem. So if a basketball player makes 9 baskets in 12 tries, what is her ratio of baskets to tries in lowest terms? So like with fractions, ratios can be simplified. So let's start out by pulling what we know from our word problem. So number of baskets made is 9. Number of tries, 12. So we're going to do it in 3 different ways. Now you only have to do one, but I'm going to show you all 3. So we can do 9 with a colons 12, 9 to 12, or a fraction 9 over 12. So like with fractions, you are going to ask yourself, are we in simplest form? We aren't. So you are going to have to simplify. And I'm going to use the fraction to simplify because that's what we've been using. So 9 over 12, our greatest common factor is 3. So we're going to divide 9 by 3 to get 3. And 12 by 3. So putting that in simplest form, it's going to be 3 dot dot 4, 3 to 4, and then 3 over 4. Again, you only need one way, but I'm just going to show you all 3 so that way you know what it looks like. So pick the way that works best for you.